Welcome to Meet the Candidate with your host, Sue Lonnie Madsen. Meet the Candidate is your opportunity to see local candidates and hear about the experiences that have shaped their lives. Meet the Candidate is a nonpartisan community project brought to you by our friends at Greater Spokane Incorporated, Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, We Believe, We Vote, and Better Spokane. Now, here's Sue Lonnie.
Hey, well, welcome to Meet the Candidate. My guest for this session is Dennis Cronin, who is running for Spokane County Superior Court for Judge, Position 10. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you, Ms. Madsen. Thank you for inviting me here today.
This is particularly for the judicial races, just getting acquainted with who these people are on the ballot is a big issue for people. And I just start with the basics and start with where did you grow up and go to school?
Where did I grow up? I grew up in Connecticut about 57 years ago, as you could tell from the white hair.
Yeah.
Grew up in Naugatuck, Connecticut. Mom and dad are Irish-Italian family. My mom's Italian, first language is Italian. My dad's Irish. His parents weren't born in this country. And my older brother and my younger sister and I, we went to the Catholic schools in Connecticut. I went to a Catholic high school, followed that at Jesuit University, proceeded on to Gonzaga Law School. My brother went a different route, became a doctor. My sister became a registered nurse in an ER. She went to public schools primarily after high school. My brother did too. So I ultimately wound up out here to be the lawyer in the family. Because we had our doctor, we had our nurse, and
lawyer was left for you.
Well, it was either lawyer or priest, and I chose lawyer with the Jesuits, of course. And then I came out here and started working as a poverty lawyer at Legal Services. And that was about 1985, 86 on a fellowship. And then from there, Carl Maxey picked me up, hired me. And from there, I became his partner and his personal attorney. And he was my best friend and mentor, taught me everything I know. Then he passed away, and here we are today.
All right. Well, that brought us all up to speed very quickly.
Yeah, it wasn't just childhood, but it was a good childhood.
Well, as a child, did you have a first job experience that really helped shape some of how you look at the world?
I did. Back then, I believe you were allowed to be latchkey children. So while my mother and father were at work during the day, I would help raise my sister. My brother would help raise me. We'd raise each other. That was our job. We'd take care of the house, do our chores. But for the actual employment, I was a busboy and a dishwasher at the International House of Pancakes. Then I went from there to being in a meat department with my friend Al Lusick, where I worked learning how to be a meat cutter. I never became an actual meat cutter. And then I went with Al and managed his restaurants. So we worked about 40, 50 hours a week doing both jobs, putting myself through school. And those were my first jobs.
And so what lessons did you learn from those?
Well, thank goodness for me, there was OSHA. So you see, I have all my fingers.
You do have all your fingers, yes. Meat cutters do have an occupational hazard with sharp knives.
They do. Oh, I worked hard. Back then I used to go to work, well, when I wasn't in school, I'd go to work about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'd close up with the restaurant about midnight, and then it takes a little bit to close down the till and whatnot. And we do that every day, 7 days a week. I still get up at 4:30. I still work till about 7 o'clock at night. So those habits are there. I don't think they'll ever leave. Learned how to work hard. I've been practicing now in a sole proprietorship for 18 years. And got to work real hard at that to make sure everybody gets paid. And I'm proud that everybody gets paid and no one's never gone without a paycheck. So I learned the quality and importance of work. And, of course, to be a success, you got to be honest and loyal as well. And I learned those traits as well.
Sound like good Jesuit traits as well.
Well, they might be Jesuit traits, but I don't know if we call them good or bad. We'll be Jesuitical about it.
Okay, that's a lawyerly answer. So, in all that time, are there some interesting places that you've traveled that have given you some different perspectives?
There's quite a few different places. I came from a poor family, and poor coming out to law school as well, and I had to come from Connecticut to this place called Washington. And Washington was south of me for the longest time in my life. So we drove repossessed cars across the nation, my friend Joe Tremutta and I. And so I've gone to every state, north and south. We ringed the country. In the process, I was taking baths up at Mount Rushmore in the pool, because it only cost 25 cents, because we were in the car. Coming over the north part. On the south part, I was living in Orlando, Florida, in a storage unit with some Hare Krishna people, which was a fascinating experience in the storage unit. And we go take showers at Orlando, Disneyland, and went to Louisiana in the process of getting to Florida. And so we did all the states, and it was a fascinating experience.
Is there a besides the Hare Krishnas at the storage unit, is there a particular incident that an anecdote you like to tell from those travels?
We stopped in San Diego, and we really didn't relish driving across the great state of Texas in the heat. So we got plane tickets, and rather than do the law review assignment, we got on the plane and we went to Puerto Vallarta. And I had fun in Puerto Vallarta. That was a fascinating experience, looking at the federales on the cars, driving through town, and just a different experience there. I ate corn. I thought I was just buying a cob of corn, but they had put chili on it. So my lips were just destroyed. So it was a fun experience.
That does sound like a fun experience to get to travel that direction. One of the questions I've been asking the judicial candidates is if you would explain a little bit about what the Superior Court does, just so people can understand what this position entails.
That's a great question, because so many people don't know what judges do. They're just on the undercard, as they say. Superior Court's a court of general jurisdiction. It means it basically does everything except for that what it does not wish to do, which is delegated to the lower courts. But they do a lot of domestic work, family work. They do juvenile, criminal. They do juvenile dependencies. They do probates. They do personal injuries. They do all real property cases. They handle whether it's a landlord-tenant or some type of lien or something along the real property lines, which means real property means property.
Tangible. Yeah.
Not personal, but like a house or some land. They do all felonies, criminal work. They do mental health. They do commitments. So they do a broad breadth of things. I've only shared with you a little bit of it. And after 33 and a half years of practice in law in Spokane, in the Superior Court, I've got experience in all of those areas and training in all of those areas. Unlike other courts, Superior Court also has a heavy emphasis on knowing mental health issues and addiction issues, alcohol and drugs, and child development, particularly with the juvenile courts. So in some ways, it's interdisciplinary, where the lawyer or the judge has to also have some training and experience in psychology, in child development, in addiction issues, in personality disorders. And it goes across the board. I think 24,000 cases were filed in 2017, if I recall my statistics, in the Superior Court. And just about most all of them in some way affect families. So whether your child is having a problem in school and you're in truancy, or your child is being prosecuted in juvenile criminal court, or your family is having issues because of drug or alcohol addiction and the state of Washington is taking custody of your child, so you're in a dependency, or an adoption, or a termination case. This is what the Superior Court does, and it affects families. Even if someone might have committed a crime or is being prosecuted, that's going to affect the family too. And then you got your divorces, and your people nowadays who don't get married and create families.
And then still have problems.
Still
if
have
things-
problems.
Yeah. So what prompted you to decide to go from practicing law before the bench to sitting behind it?
I had 10 years from 2005 to 2015 as a part-time Superior Court Commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And
So you had a little kind of reserve call-up training.
they gave me a taste. And doing it for 33 years throughout Eastern Washington and in Spokane, having done all of, basically, if you looked at my resume, it's like, I hate to talk about myself, but it's a lengthy resume. I looked at what's going on now. And right now our system is in crisis. And people are representing themselves because they can't afford attorneys. They can't get access to justice. The justice system itself is breaking. It's overloaded. We have people in that court system who are suffering trauma because their families are in trauma. Mm-hmm. And then the system itself is traumatizing them. And we don't, in my opinion, have enough people looking at these families with a trauma-informed, interdisciplinary view. And then the system itself needs substantial work. And so I can't just stand there and watch this and not get involved. You can't stand at the side of the road and look at someone being traumatized and not do something. So now that I believe I have the necessary skill set, community involvement and experience and training, I want to become the judge to help fix this trauma for these families.
Well, we've hit up on our 10 minutes, but you did answer the last question I didn't even ask it, which is why should voters choose you? You've made your pitch of your experience right there.
Well, there you go.
So I appreciate that you took the time to come in, and good luck on your race.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Thanks for watching Meet the Candidate. Spokane Talks thanks our community-minded partners, Greater Spokane Incorporated, the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, We Believe We Vote, and Better Spokane for helping make Meet the Candidate possible.